All right, let's jump right into this explainer. If you're practicing in the Canadian medical aesthetic space, you already know a massive paradigm shift is underway. We are rapidly moving away from passive volumization and stepping right into the era of active, structural tissue regeneration. This isn't just a trend, it's a fundamental overhaul in both the science of rheology and the daily economics of your clinic. And the clinical data we're unpacking today is genuinely fascinating.
Look at the trajectory we're on right now. The Canadian market is projected to explode from $826 million in 2024 to over $2 billion by 2032. And what's driving a huge chunk of this? The GLP-1 wave. Rapid weight loss treatments are everywhere, and they're leaving patients with significant facial deflation, what we colloquially call Ozempic face. These patients don't just need their superficial wrinkles smoothed out, they need their foundation rebuilt. Which brings us to a rather provocative question. If the goal is genuine structural regeneration, why are we still relying on passive implants? From a clinical standpoint, simply stretching out tissue with an inert gel is incredibly inefficient. The era of placing a dead, passive blob of hyaluronic acid under the skin is ending, especially when we now have the molecular technology to actively command the body to build living tissue. Here is our clinical roadmap for the explainer today. We'll quickly cover the market shift, dive deep into the G' hierarchy, unpack the bioactive regenerative stimulation, compare injection protocols, look at the safety profile, and wrap up with clinic economics.
Section 1. The market shift. For clinic owners and injectors, success right now requires a strict mastery of rheology, biology, and clinical throughput. According to the internal playbooks driving this shift, the days of relying purely on brand loyalty to legacy portfolios, the classic Juvederm or Galderma lines, are fading fast. The new standard demands a completely integrated approach, maximizing peer-reviewed clinical results while actively optimizing your clinic's bottom line.
Moving on to Section 2, Rheology and the G' hierarchy. Let's strip away the marketing hype and look purely at the physics. Performance is all about rheology, specifically G', which measures a gel's structural lifting power. If you're reconstructing a jawline or a zygomatic arch, you absolutely need massive G'. Historically, achieving high G' meant dealing with a stiff, particulate gel, but the numbers here are striking. RevoShap StimuHA hits a staggering 425 pascals, the highest in Canada, while remaining a smooth, unified matrix. Compare that to Juvederm Voluma at 197 pascals. Voluma gives you less than half the lift and can spread or pancake over time, whereas RevoShap holds a sharp, localized, bone-mimicking projection. And this highlights the long-term clinical outcome of that massive G' combined with active biology. RevoShap acts as a highly durable bioscaffold, delivering a staggering 94% volumetric retention at the 12-month mark. This data comes straight from the 24-month longitudinal Paris 2025 trial. Notice the legacy competitors are sitting down in the low 80s. But that 94% retention isn't just because the gel is stiff, it's because the degrading gel is literally being replaced by the patient's own tissue. Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, Bioactive Regenerative Stimulation. This is where we transition from physical lifting power into literal cellular biohacking. It's called the CD44 paradigm. Passive legacy fillers only generate minor collagen through the physical irritation of stretching the skin. But RevoShap is an active hybrid matrix. It integrates free, uncross-linked oligo-HA fragments. These are tiny molecules less than 10 kilodaltons in size. They act as biological keys, physically docking onto the CD44 receptors on dormant fibroblasts. This binding triggers Rho-GTPase signaling, sending a direct chemical command to the cell's nucleus to wake up and start manufacturing new tissue. You don't have to just take my word for it. The textbook histology from the Paris 2025 trial perfectly illustrates how the hyaluronic acid carrier is replaced by living tissue. When comparing the outcomes, passive mechanical stretching leaves a much weaker structure. But after active stimulation from RevoShap, the tissue shows dense type 1 collagen bundles and highly organized elastin fibers. You're effectively biohacking the cellular matrix to restore youthful architecture from the inside out. To put some hard numbers on that, we are talking about a massive 34% biomimetic induction of type 1 collagen, plus a 22% increase in elastin for genuine tissue snapback. Remember, older mechanical fillers typically only manage about a 10% collagen increase just from sheer physical stress. Jumping to 34% isn't just an improvement, it's a foundational leap in aesthetic medicine. Let's look at Section 4, Protocol, Layered versus Unified. So how does this cellular efficiency translate to your daily clinical protocol? Historically, to get deep structural lift alongside superficial skin quality, you had to use a layering protocol. You take a firm filler, maybe Restylane Lift, inject it deep on the bone, then switch to a soft skin booster like Skin Vive for the superficial layers. That meant 2 syringes, multiple depths, 45 minutes of chair time, and double the patient trauma. RevoShap's unified hybrid protocol completely collapses this. You get the deep plane delivery and the active regenerative signaling in a single syringe, cutting chair time down to just 20 minutes.
Moving right along to Section 5, the safety of reversibility.
Now, we can't talk about biostimulators without talking about risk. Older biostimulating agents on the market, things like PLA or calcium hydroxylapatite, rely on triggering an inflammatory foreign body response. The massive clinical downside, if you have an adverse event, or worse, a vascular occlusion, those products are entirely non-reversible. By relying on direct CD44 activation rather than inflammation, RevoShap delivers those powerful regenerative benefits while maintaining the ultimate safety net. It is 100% reversible with hyaluronase.
It's exactly this combination of sophisticated molecular engineering and stringent safety standards that makes this unified syringe the superior alternative to semi-permanent implants. In a highly regulated market like Canada, where Health Canada MDL compliance is absolute table stakes, having this level of premium European manufacturing and clinical precision is exactly what you need to mitigate practice risk.
Finally, Section 6, Clinic Economics and ROI.
Let's connect these biological advantages directly to your bottom line. By streamlining inventory, you eliminate the need to stock multiple SKUs per patient. And because you've dropped the procedure time from 45 minutes down to 20, your labor cost per case drops from over $112 down to just $50. In a standard 8-hour day, a physician can easily increase throughput from 8 to 10 patients up to 16 to 20 patients. According to the data, that biological efficiency translates to an estimated $2,800 in extra found revenue every single day.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought. If cosmetic facial fillers are now successfully using molecular fragments to actively command our cells to grow new tissue, how long until other standard medical implants start actively dictating cellular regeneration inside our bodies? Bridging high G' rheology with CD44 signaling has completely disrupted aesthetics, but the broader implications for medicine are staggering. If we can biohack facial tissue today, what foundational biological limits will we overcome tomorrow? Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.